What's going on, everyone? How is everybody doing?
Hello.
Can somebody give us a thumbs up that you can hear us? This way we can get started. Welcome to our Wednesday live stream.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Joe.
And we're
Two Crazy Ketos.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're new to our channel, welcome. Here on Two Crazy Ketos, we do different things like recipe videos and we do product reviews. And we talk about various keto topics. And every Monday, we sit down on the couch for Keto on the Couch. We just kind of talk about what's going on in our lives for the week.
You can find us in different social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
And we have a website, which is twocrazyketos.com. And that's where you're going to find all of our different recipes. Now, we do upload at least 5 new videos every single week. So make sure you subscribe to our channel.
And don't forget to hit the little bell icon. And that way, every single time we upload a new video, you'll be alerted to it.
I just realized I'm wearing my hat.
You've got your hat on. Two conchs.
Two conchs. You got that in the key. So welcome to the Wednesday live stream. We're going to kick off today our 2KK No Joke April challenge with Bronson from Apex Training.
Nope, we're not kidding.
We're not kidding.
This is happening starting tomorrow.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to bring Bronson on and we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on. He's got a couple things to talk about, and then we're just going to jump right into it. I know a bunch of people have questions, things like that, and Bronson can see all of the comments or everything, so he'll be able to read everything, and we will go from there. So let's bring Bronson in. There he is.
Bronson. Oh, he sees you like Santa Claus. He sees you when you're working out, and he sees you when you
I should have gotten, for all of us old people on, I should have gotten that magnifying glass that didn't have anything in it and been like, I see Joe and I see Rachel.
He's watching.
For those of you who remember that show back in the day.
Yes.
What's up, guys?
So where do you want to start?
I want to start first off by saying I love everybody's excitement for this, and I'm super excited to get this started. So
okay.
I'm seeing tons of questions, tons of comments. Some people have started early, which is totally cool. I love it. But let's talk first about some of the things that I think everyone's going to need to do mentally and maybe in their routine as they start looking at what we're doing over the next 4 weeks. Okay. So we know that the goal for the next 4 weeks is prioritize protein, build lean mass, and try to start, not even try, we're going to start some sort of fitness routine. Okay. Those are the 3 things we're trying to do. Okay. In order to do that, there's a couple things that is going to help your success throughout the next 4 weeks and keep you from getting frustrated, keep you from kind of stressing over things as you go, because it's different. This is a whole different way to approach keto. The first one is as much as possible, forget about calories.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's a toughie.
Okay.
That's a hard one.
That's a hard one. It's a really, really hard one. Initially, when you first get started, we're going to go over the details on how to figure out one-to-one and what your macros are and that kind of stuff. We'll do that in a little bit. But initially, when you get started, it's probably very likely that it's going to be hard for you to get all of your protein in from day one. You're going to have to work up to that, which means your overall calories are probably going to be lower than you're used to. That's okay. If you're getting, this is the big thing. What we're trying to do is you're trying to get you to be full every time you eat. So if you're eating food and you're not feeling full, it's okay to eat more. It's okay to eat more because we're trying to give our body the nutrients that it needs. Protein is more nutrient dense than anything else that we can eat. So we're focusing and prioritizing on protein. You may get full faster than you're used to eating actually less quantity of food, right? Because we don't get full on calories, we get full on nutrition.
And I have absolutely found that to be true. Whereas I can eat a lot of stuff in big quantities. If I try to eat 12 chicken wings, I can get full very, very fast. You too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I find I can't even eat more than like 3 or 4 wings before like I start getting full. So,
yeah,
you know, and then by the time I get to like 10, I'm like, yeah, I'm done. So like, I'll put down a plate of like 18 wings and think of like, oh, I'm going to eat all of these. but because there's so much higher protein, you know, I just can't, it takes me all day to eat 18 wings.
Right. And so the mindset that most of us have when it comes to dieting and nutrition is moderation and stop, right? With that never hungry, never full is a mantra that I used to live by. I never want to be hungry, but I also never want to stuff myself. It's okay to stuff yourself. If you want to eat 8 pounds of hamburger, then go ahead and eat 8 pounds of hamburger. Have a blast with it, right? Whatever, 15, 20, 30 wings, that's great. Because we want to get the protein in. The protein is the number one thing that we're trying to focus on, okay? So if possible, forget about calories. The second thing, and this is going to also potentially play mind games with people, for the next 4 weeks, my recommendation, you don't have to do this, okay? We'll talk about have to and rules and stuff like that. We'll talk about that later too. You don't have to do this. This is if you want to see what happens, because this is an experiment. I would highly recommend not to do intermittent fasting for the next 4 weeks.
Okay.
Because the priority of what you need to do for your body is give it as much nutrition as possible without limitation. If you're going to try and target your number, let's say your number is 150 grams of protein a day. If you're going to try to do that and you only eat 2 meals a day in a small 6-hour window, it's very unlikely that you're going to be able to shove all that food in your face in 6 hours. You may need to expand that window and do a normal breakfast, lunch, and dinner in order to get all of your protein in. That is going to do more for you. That is going to be more beneficial in the long term, not just for your body composition, but also your quality of life than intermittent fasting is going to be for you. Okay?
Well, and I actually think that is a great suggestion if you are interested in grabbing a friend or a partner or, you know, your husband, your wife, and having them get on board with the challenge. They may be more likely to try something here in April where they're used to maybe a breakfast, lunch, and dinner themselves. Right. And now you're just switching out the kind of food that you eat. They may be more willing to give keto a shot.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a cool idea. I hadn't even thought about that. Bring your family in. Yeah, definitely.
Now, I did want to make sure that everybody gets on. I mean, I'm sure you were going to bring it up, but it's just it's on my mind because we just got these in the mail. They're not available yet. I don't know if you've seen this. Redmond's got their Relife, but they're coming up with a new one that's got like immunity boosters in it, like vitamin C's and some different things like that added. Make sure you're getting your electrolytes. We're like testing this for them right now, but make sure you're getting in all of your electrolytes and stuff throughout the whole month.
Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. And then the third thing, mindset shift. All right. This is a big one, a big one. Okay. Everybody, please understand that you're doing this for you. There is no keto counsel that is going to fine you if you do something incorrectly. There are no rules to follow. There are guidelines to help you figure out what works best for you. Okay. So the questions that come in that are, is this allowed? Can I have this? Here's your answer to that. Everything is allowed. You can have whatever you want. Okay. The only thing you need to do is ask yourself, if I have this, is it going to help me or is it going to prevent my progress or slow me down or make me stall, whatever it may be? How am I going to feel if I do this? That is, you are the determining factor. Not there's no external body of anything that's saying what you can and can't do. Right. So just keep that in mind. If you want to try something, try it. Let us know what happened and how it worked. If it didn't work, then that's great. You learned something not to do again. If it did work, then share it so other people can try it themselves. Right.
I love that so much because, I'm picturing like a Jedi council, like all of them around. Yoda is sitting there twiddling his fingers, going like, what are you going to do? But you're absolutely right. There's no keto police. There's nobody on trial. This is why we're doing it as a family, because this is a safe place.
Right.
And we have to, do some of these experiments every once in a while to just see, is it time to tweak some stuff?
Right.
How is my keto journey going to, go to the right or go to the left or move forward sometimes at all?
Right.
If I don't challenge myself in some area. So this is awesome.
Now I did one before we get too far ahead. We do have There's a link down below in the description for those people who are not on Facebook, because we've been getting messages all week long. I'm not on social media. I want to participate. Where can I get everything? So if you email us, I can forward it to you, but I have uploaded everything over onto our website. So if you go over to our website, let me pull this up like large. If you go to our website and you go up here to like where it says Keto One-on-One, and you can pull up our blog post. And on our blog post, you will actually find everything. You can also go, it's 2 Crazy Ketos / what is it? No dash joke. So it's 2crazyketos.com / no-joke. And that will actually get everything on there. Rachel's whole month of like the chopped challenge is on there, as well as both of the things that Bronson put up there. And I can actually go over to that website. I forgot that I had that there. We got a whole new thing here. So, but when you come up on here, here's where is it now? It's missing. Let me just go up here. 2crazyketos.com / no-joke. Bronson, you had a new piece on here, I believe, didn't you? You put like a new workout section or something like that?
Alternative.
Yes, I added a more accessible version of workouts for people to do. It's the same workout, so you can do it multiple times in a week. It shouldn't be too much for someone to do 3 times a week. But it's sitting down. It's got bands. It's low impact. We had a couple of people that were saying they got knee replacements and hips and all kinds of other stuff. So I wanted to have something that was kind of accessible to people with some limitations.
Okay.
You're so awesome.
So let me just show you guys one now that I pulled it up. So this is what it looks like. So if you go over to the page, to our website, you'll see this here. It's the April No Joke Challenge. Right here is the alternate workout. And he also has the regular workout that you can download both of them. If you have any problems, just give us a call. And then here is the whole month of the No Joke Challenge. Now, again, the No Joke Challenge is not like mandatory to do along with the chopped challenge. You can do them both. You can do one. You can do whichever way you want to do it. Rachel just thought it would be fun to throw this like chopped challenge in there, but you don't have to do it.
Well, because a lot of times we get questions about like, what is lean protein, or what are some other protein options? What is some varieties? So we wanted to find some very low cost things like cube steak and bologna and chicken and that kind of stuff.
Yep. So you got a bunch of comments in there, but I know you want to read a few of those, and then we can. I know you gave me that thing.
Yeah, I had a couple things before we get to the comments. Well, you know what? Let's go over the last thing before because I got like 5 things here. I highly recommend everybody get a body comp if you can get a body comp scan. Do measurements, take before pictures, whatever, some sort of physical thing that you can look at now so that you can do it again in 4 weeks and kind of see what changes you had.
Okay.
Because the scale may not change, guys. Just a heads up, the scale, you may get heavier.
Yeah. Yeah.
You may weigh more by the end of the month.
Okay.
So just another mindset thing, right? You may weigh more by the end of this, and that's okay. It's okay. All right. Let's go over the one-to-one and explain that in detail.
Okay.
And then we can maybe get to some questions and some tips on how to actually make it happen.
Okay.
Can you pull that up? You have that?
Oh, your little graphic. Yeah.
Over to the right there, I see.
No, I just have 2 million windows open right now. Okay, so you're talking about this graphic right here, right?
Yeah. Now, can you make that full screen so everybody
full
can?
Screen and you can talk over it.
I'll just talk over it. Yeah. All right. Sweet. So we can look at it. Okay. Guys, this is a graphic representation of one-to-one. Okay. The one-to-one method, basically starting as a baseline. Okay. Remember that we're talking about a guideline to get you started. As you go, this is something to keep in mind. As you go through the process, the ratio is going to change, usually in the amount of protein going up. Okay. So what this shows here, the top half of this graph is protein. All right. The bottom half, the purple and the red portion, is your fat and carbs. Right. So If you start in the middle between the two, that's your lean body mass. If you have a body composition scan and you know what your lean body mass is, okay? Deb, there are no concerns with high protein and kidney stones. We'll talk about, can you write that one down, Joe? I just saw that one pop up.
Dr. Berry actually just recently put a video up about that too.
Okay, cool. Where was it? Oh, if you have a body composition scan and you know your lean body mass, you can just use that as your number. So if for future reference, if anybody sees me post in the group, what's your number? That's what I'm talking about. Okay, your lean body mass, or if you don't have your lean body mass, your goal weight. Okay, so if you weigh 200 pounds and your goal weight is 175, then 175 is the number that we're using for your ratio. Okay. All right. So what that means is if you were trying to gain muscle, gain lean mass, which is what we're trying to do, you're going to start at 1 gram of protein per pound of lean body mass or your goal weight. So if your goal weight or your lean mass is 175, then you want to shoot for 175 grams of protein per day at a minimum. You want to try to get there. Chances are you're not there, and chances are it's going to take you a week or two, maybe longer, to get to that point where you can actually eat that much protein in a day. Okay, you're going to be full. That's okay. All right. If you have that number set for your protein as a minimum, then that means on the flip side, the other half of the ratio is your fuel, your fat and carbs. That is a maximum. We don't want to go over 175 in this example that we're using of grams of protein, of fat and carbs per day. Okay, so if you can pull it back up. So if you notice the way that this is done on the bottom of the graphic, the purple and the red, purple is fat, red is carbs. Okay, there's a section on the bottom that is all purple. That's because at a minimum, even if you cut out all carbs, even if you go super low fat, if you did nothing and just did a little bit of fat every day, I still would want you to try to get 50 to 70 grams of fat a day minimum, no matter what you do. Okay. Anything above that is extra if you want to do it. Just try to keep it under a combined whatever your number is. Does that make sense? Is that clear, guys? Can I make that any clearer?
Yeah.
Okay. So 2 of the things that people commented on, and I deal with clients all the time, is 1, I can't get enough protein. I can't seem to eat that much. Okay. Give it time. The biggest thing when it comes to eating more protein is it makes you feel full. People are not used to feeling full. So they don't know that it's okay to be full. It's okay to eat till you feel like I can't eat anymore, especially when you're eating protein. Okay. So you may have to force yourself a little bit to take that extra bite or 2 of protein at each meal. Right. And what I suggest for most people is, I think, Joe, I don't know if I told you this when we were doing our ear stuff, is try to increase your portion of protein by half at each meal. So if you normally eat 6 ounces of let's say you normally eat 4 eggs for breakfast, try to eat 6. If you normally eat 6 ounces of chicken, try to eat 9. Right? Just have it and add a little bit more to each meal, and you're going to eventually get to a point where you're okay with that. That's just what you do.
Okay.
Right? That's a great way to work into it.
Than sitting down and just trying to eat it all.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Especially for people who haven't been eating like a lot of protein to try to all of a sudden double and triple it. I know that's where a lot of people have been struggling.
It's really hard. Yeah. And then also, if you need to eat more meals through the day, eat more meals through the day. We talked about it before. If you're intermittent fasting, I recommend not doing that. Open that window as wide as possible to help you get as much.
There is a comment here. I mean, it's from Jessica, who said, "What? No intermittent fasting? What if you can have a 4-hour window and be able to down 150 grams of protein? I have quite a large capacity."
Hey, go for it. That is recommended for people if you're having trouble getting your protein.
Okay.
Most people, a high majority, I will say most, I'll just say a high majority of people, when they do intermittent fasting, they tend to overall reduce the amount of food that they're getting.
Right.
And it's not what we want. So particularly when we're trying to increase the amount of food that we're getting, it's going to be a little bit harder if you're intermittent fasting. If you're used to it and you're doing it, then have a blast.
Yeah, that's something we actually just recently talked about, and like 5 things that you could be doing that you think is helping you and is actually hurting you. And one of them was, if you're intermittent fasting or OMADing every day, you may be under eating, because that's one of the downsides of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know I experimented with OMAD a while ago, and it was just not. I could not eat enough food. Just could not eat that much food.
I'm up for this challenge.
So Tanta said, yeah, going to be a challenge to not do intermittent fasting. I probably need a break from fasting anyway, which I think is a good idea for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's not, I don't think intermittent fasting should be a lifestyle. I think it should be a tool that you use at times, but I think we're designed to eat whenever. Our body is going to process food whenever we get it. So I think focusing on getting what your body needs should always be the priority before any biohack or any other kind of tweaking that you're doing. So.
Well, sometimes for somebody like me who's had like, you've lost 100 pounds and you're just so afraid that you're going to go back. Sometimes intermittent fasting can be used as a way to just not deal with food.
Right.
And that's not the motivation that we want. We want it, like
Right.
you're saying, we want, intermittent fasting to be used as a proper tool, not as a way to kind of punish ourselves because we can't be trusted to eat.
Right.
Right. And that's what I love about this. When you prioritize protein, you can eat as much as you want. Have a blast.
Now, I did want to say for those people who just there, I know people keep messaging saying like, I just don't understand how to figure out. There is a macro calculator on our website. If you go up to the top and you go to macro calculator, it's right there. And all you have to do with this is literally put in your information on there. So you just literally going to go in here and put, are you a male or a female? Are you current weight? What is your current? What is your goal weight? Do you know your body fat percentage? If you don't know it, click no, and it's going to use your goal weight to figure your macro.
Hey, Joe, why don't we do mine?
Okay, perfect.
Right.
Okay.
So my current weight is 190.
So you're 190. Okay.
Okay. I know my body fat percentage.
Okay. So
let's do both.
Weight.
Say I don't know my body fat percentage. My goal weight is going to be so for me, realistically, my goal weight, let's just say, is 185.
Okay.
I want to lose 5
know
pounds.
Your body fat percentage. We're going to say no.
No. All right. My
And
total carbs, I keep my carbs under 15.
Okay. So we're going to scroll that down to 15.
All right. And then there we go.
And there you go. It says right there, you're going to eat 185 grams of protein. Minimum. And then your fat is 169. And then, well, actually, I guess I put 16 instead. But yeah. And then there you go. 170 and 15. Now, if you know your body fat percentage, you can click yes. And then you just use this slider. And so what's your body fat percentage?
12%.
12%.
Look at you, awesome sauce.
12%. And now you're going to scroll down. And now what it's doing is 167 grams of protein with 15 carbs and 152 grams of fat.
And that's still at least 167.
Right.
Correct.
So it's really simple. So there was an error on there that Bronson found where I said like you should eat, and it should have said should not. We fixed that. It was just a little typo. I did that at like 3 a.m. So, but it's really simple. Just go up there on the very top. It says macro calculator, and it's going to be the easiest way. And again, if you know what full feels like, you don't have to do this. If you know that like, hey, I can eat 3 pounds of ground beef and that's going to be all my protein, you don't necessarily have to count everything. This is really for people who don't know what comfortably full feels like Rachel.
Exactly. Yeah. So I see a comment from Kim right there, and I can actually answer that. She says, how do I do the pull-up without a bar because I have no upper body strength? And let me tell you, something that I've learned is if you just get a PVC pipe, just a little bit of PVC pipe from Home Depot or Lowe's or Walmart, and you start just doing it 50 times in a row, it will kick your booty. It will kick your booty.
Yeah, that's a great invisible way. But what's a good thing for pull-ups, Bronson? If we don't have a pull-up.
Resistance bands is a good thing. There's some other stuff you can do if you have weights and stuff like that. But in the PDF or in either of the PDFs, there's a link to options. So if you don't have a pull-up bar, there's videos on how to use resistance bands instead.
I love that.
And then Shauna, I just noticed, asked if I use net carbs. Everything is always net carbs. Total, everything counts.
No,
So-
so
so
everything
everything
you
is
just said
total
everything is
carbs.
net carbs.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, total carbs.
Okay, so
Yeah.
let's go back to this question you had from Deb. Say, can you speak to the concern of high protein and the risk for kidney stones?
The only time, and just to keep it short, the only time you need to worry about anything with high protein and your kidneys, whether it's kidney stones, kidney health, whatever, is if you already have issues. When it comes to kidney health, when it comes to kidney stones, it's not actually, and this is one of those real things. I think I actually have, you know what? I actually have a blog that I wrote about this like 2 years ago.
Oh, nice.
It's so if anyone wants to go to my website and search my blog for kidney stones, I have a kidney stone and gout blog that kind of breaks us down a little bit. Red meat does not cause kidney stones, carbohydrates do. We'll just keep it that simple.
Wow. So yeah, so you
Right?
may
It really, yeah. I mean, oxalates, 80% of all kidney stones are formed by oxalates, and we all know where those come from. So that's your biggest worry.
So here, Peggy said, this is kind of scaring me. I'm in weight loss mode and I don't want to gain weight.
Okay. So who was that? Peggy? It's okay. That's where a lot of people are. A lot of people are in that. I know both you guys, Joe and Rachel, you guys kind of dealt with that a little bit, right?
Definitely.
Still dealing with it.
Yeah.
Right.
But the fun part is no, the scale's not going down, but like my pants are a little bit looser and like I'm noticing an increase in muscle. So it's frustrating, but I know that there will all of a sudden be what everybody calls like the whoosh thing, only it's going to be your muscle working on your fat.
Getting the scale that break either a DEXA scan or getting the scale and having that investment in yourself to break out what that number behind the one weight number actually means has really been an encouragement to me as I've moved forward and continued to trust it, because yes, I am seeing my muscle go up and my fat go down, but the one number that usually meant if I'm going to have a good day or not, that one number we see is not one dimensional. There's a lot going on behind the numbers. So, but unless you get a DEXA scan or you have a scale that breaks those numbers out, you may just be discouraged. And that's why some of our advice has been, before you go into this challenge, just decide you're not going to weigh yourself and you're going to do measurements. If you don't have a DEXA scan or you don't have one of those scales that's breaking it out, because why discourage yourself? Right.
Yeah. Scott just asked about gout. Same thing with gout, Scott. Kidney stones, gout, it's all basically offshoots of the same thing. Gout is mostly oxalates as well. So you're going to dump those and be good.
Okay, so here's a question that keeps coming up a lot. And she said her lean body mass is at 100 pounds. So how am I converting to grams? I'm confused with this. And I think what's happening is a lot of people are thinking they're supposed to be weighing their food and they're looking at 100 ounces and not realizing that like a 6-ounce chicken breast, we're not looking at the grams of the chicken breast. You're looking at the amount of protein that is within 6 ounces of chicken breast, because that 6 ounces of chicken breast isn't just 6 ounces of protein. It's 6 ounces of protein and fat and water. So when you cook any of these foods, you're going to lose water. Water is going to get cooked off. And sometimes you're going to lose fat because it's going to be left in the pan, especially like your ground beef. But the one thing that you're not going to cook off is ground beef, is the protein. That's why you need to use something like Chronometer and put in, I'm eating a pound of ground beef, and it's going to tell you how much protein is within a pound of ground beef.
Because 10 ounces of ground beef is not 10 ounces or 10 grams of protein.
Right. So, and just to give you guys an example, I have a little calculator on my website that kind of can give you a rough idea of some things. So 100 grams of protein, you're going to get that in 20 ounces of beef, 20.4 ounces of chicken, 21 ounces of pork, 15 eggs, 33 ounces of bacon, or 18 ounces of salmon. That's all 100 grams of protein.
That seems much more doable than somebody thinking, am I going to have to eat 150 ounces
Right.
of salmon this morning?
Right. So just, yeah, it's the amount of protein that's in the quantity of food, not the weight of the food that we're talking about.
So here's a good one, because again, people are thinking about the fat. Like Trucker Cat said, so bacon and then eating the grease from it. Is that okay?
If that's the only fat you're getting and you're doing super lean other stuff, then that's probably good. It depends on what your totals at the end of the day look like. Okay. In general, and I just did this up in Chronometer before we got started because I wanted to give people an idea. So I'm just going to read off a day, okay, to give you guys an idea. All right, 6 eggs. So if I have for breakfast, if I have 6 eggs and 6 slices of bacon, all right, cooked in 2 tablespoons of butter. So even if I add butter, add 2 pats of butter to my eggs and cook my eggs in the butter, then for lunch, if I have a pound of ground beef, and then say in the afternoon, like right before after workout, I have a cup of egg whites and Equip Prime protein powder in a shake. All of that combined, right? So we got 6 eggs, 6 slices of bacon, 2 tablespoons of butter, a pound of meat, a cup of egg whites, and a protein scoop. Okay, 219 grams of protein, 6 grams of carbs, 135 grams of fat. Okay, that is 70 grams, almost 70 grams over my protein goal and 20 grams under my fat goal, my
Wow.
fuel goal. Okay, that's with adding butter, with the bacon, right? So in general, guys, if you are having trouble getting your protein in and still going over on your fat, it's one of 2 things. It's either you're adding fat that you don't need to be adding, or your carbs are too high. Try to lower your carbs.
Okay.
I like getting that information because then I can identify it. Then I can see, okay, this is the problem, and then I can correct it.
Okay, so here's one, because I know people are trying to build their muscle. Like Mary said, I'm getting confused. Is my calculated lean body mass is 30 less than my goal weight, and she is at her goal. So what I've always felt is if you're at your goal weight, use more of your goal weight over your lean body mass, and maybe make sure you're getting more 1-to-1. But what do you say, Bronson?
If you're at your goal weight, then your goal is to increase lean mass and try to switch your composition. So you don't care about whether your weight changes up, down, whatever. Like you're going to maintain, and you're trying to just change your body and become denser, right? Same weight, but tighter and smaller. So what I would recommend in this case is kind of a hybrid of the 2. I would say use your protein goal as your goal weight. Your goal weight is your protein goal. Use your lean body mass, if you know it, as your fuel goal.
Oh, brilliant.
And again, it doesn't matter if you go over your protein goal.
Correct. That's what I do. So that's kind of a hybrid of the 2. That way you keep you maintain the fuel. The fuel is always a leverage, and you're always you're always going to at least be getting your protein in.
Okay, so yeah, so Shell, you've got it. It says, so I need to eat 130 grams of protein if my lean body mass is 130.
At least. You can do 200 if you wanted. If you can.
Linda asked if there was a place to show you 150 grams of protein. You just said on your website you've got something.
Yeah, check out.
Yeah, so if it's apxts.com, or you can just do, if you want to spell it out, it's theapextrainingsystem.com, and then /quantity-calculator.
Awesome. That's a huge help.
I'm looking for any, let me know if there's any comment there that you see there, Bronson.
All right.
Okay, so here's one. Susan said, can you explain the numbers provided on the InBody and the trends we should look for with those numbers? I'm willing to take the question offline if we need to.
Not at all. I should take do you have you can't link your phone in here or whatever, can you? Wait, you had numbers. You had a post where you had your trends recently. Was it a YouTube that you did?
That was Rachel's thing. Yes.
Yeah.
Rachel has, I don't have anything easily pull up.
Let me see if I can.
I could have sworn I saw a YouTube video or a post, Joe, of your info.
Could be.
Where's
yours? I'll see if I can find it.
Well, maybe on the next one we can.
For that,
maybe on the next. Maybe next
what
week.
What we're going to do is I will make sure we have all that for next week, and also we're even we're going to vlog tomorrow for the first day. See, everybody gets to see us do some exercises as well. So
brace yourself, Effie. This isn't going to be pretty, but we're going to do it.
So Lucy wants to know: do you eat the ground beef lean
or plain?
Yes and no. Let's go back to the InBody one real quick, just because I want to answer that question a little bit.
Okay.
On the sheet, there's going to be a bunch of information. The ones that you want to think about, okay? You need to know your body fat percentage, okay? These are the different ones mean different things, but your body fat percentage is the biggest thing because you want that to go down. Mm-hmm. And then there should be something on there that says your lean mass. If you have the InBody and you have the one that it may not show lean mass on the actual report at the end of your scan, and all you need to do is take your total weight, your body weight, subtract it by whatever your body fat percentage is. That's your lean mass. It's the difference. So if you weigh 200 pounds and you're at 20% body fat, then your lean mass is 160 pounds.
Okay.
That's how that works. So if you don't see lean mass on the report, just subtract your body fat percentage from your body weight. And those are the two numbers you're looking at.
Awesome.
All right. Let's see. Okay. The question about ground beef. I personally, I've said this before, I'm very simple, minimalistic when it comes to food. So I like to cook my ground beef until it's just, how it's kind of like that, almost getting a little kind of crispy where it starts to pop in the grease a little bit. Then I take it out. Sometimes I'll take it out and then I'll cook a bunch of eggs in the grease. I like my eggs a little bit runny, so not quite sunny side up, like over medium. So I'll cook them a little bit on both sides, but the yolk is still not cooked. And then I break that and let the yolks run all over the meat.
Oh my goodness, that is so Joe. That's exactly what
it's a great gravy. I mean, that's what it is.
That's how I do it. That's how I eat most of my meals.
So Lewis wants to know, can we talk about the ugly part of loose stool?
Sure. It has to come up. It has to come up. The biggest thing is it's sodium and electrolytes. That's really the biggest thing. It's really crazy how if your electrolytes are imbalanced, you're either going to have loose stool or you're going to be constipated. It's going to be one or the other. So you get those things locked in place and chances are you'll be fine.
Yeah, so many people, I think they're always worried if I'm eating too much protein or I'm not. I mean, like we just had a friend recently who's getting started. They've on and off keto, and they keep calling us back and they're like, well, how do I get my fiber in? Like you don't need the fiber.
Well, and that is something, to think about since we're talking about this. The least amount of waste that you have that your body's not utilizing, you have less waste. So that is something that kind of happens on keto. You don't go to the bathroom as often as you did when you were eating all of that, the carbs and wheat that your body wasn't really doing anything great with either. I mean, we have the same exact situation with Tabitha, our Labrador retriever. So we have her on a ketogenic food with no fillers, no grain products or anything. And she goes to the bathroom a lot less than any other dog. I think she goes to the bathroom
once a day, but when you put her on like the regular dog chow that's filled with corns and rices and stuff like that, she'd go like 10 times a day.
Because your body's just discarding the stuff that it's not utilizing. So it's actually a good sign.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. One to 2 times a day is normal. Maybe not common, but normal.
Right.
Now, one thing I do want to say, like again, because you're talking about electrolytes, because I know some people like to do keto chow, like we like keto chow, and if you've never done that before, and especially if you're doing more than one a day, and you start having like we call bathroom type pyrotechnics, a lot of times it's because you were not used to having magnesium, and now all of a sudden you're getting appropriate amounts of magnesium. It doesn't even have to be from keto chow. If you start taking like the Dr. Berry minerals, your daily minerals, or adding magnesium into your diet, like using the stuff from a Quip or even like Calm or something like that, and all of a sudden you're getting the right amount of magnesium. you may notice as your body adjusts a little bit that like it's just an adjustment period. You just got to give it a little bit of time.
Yeah, your body's just so deficient in that one nutrient.
Yeah. So there was one here. Trucker Cat said, should we be keeping our dairy low?
Everyone's different with that. My recommendation for most people is to use dairy as a sustainability tool, but not a staple. Right. So, because I know for me, I can easily get into the cheese trap where I'm eating, gobs of cheese every day because it's amazing. But then I notice within 3 or 4 days, I notice I feel different. I notice over time, if I go several weeks where I'm just like, you know what, I'm going to have cheese again. I stall in my progress. Like there's a lot of things that happen when I start eating more dairy. So I think that happens with a lot of people. I think a lot of people just don't realize it.
Definitely the case for me with heavy whipping cream. So this may be the month that if you drink a lot of coffee like I do, that maybe if you like to have it, lighter, that you make this switch to something like, almond milk, like a splash of that.
Or vanilla flavored Equip.
Yes, definitely. Just
with
as
some
like
cinnamon.
There you go. So you'll still have it light, your coffee light, but you won't be adding so much of the dairy to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
and go ahead. People are just asking where they can find the stuff on your website. So it's under articles. It's going to pull it up for them.
Oh, the articles? Wait, which stuff?
Like your comparison of like what protein.
So that's I don't have. See, I should add that to a menu. I don't have it on a menu right now. It's it's my website /quantity-calculator.
Okay. So what we'll do is I'll put that in the description when we're done.
Okay. I mean, the easiest way another easy way to do it, guys, is if you have Chronometer or MyFitnessPal or something like that, just put in however much food and it will tell you what the protein is.
Let's use Chronometer. Let's not use MyFitnessPal.
Just because
Chronometer.
The only reason I say that because what happens is you get there's too much wrong information on MyFitnessPal. So I'm not telling you, I'm telling everybody else. The reason we never recommend MyFitnessPal or Carb Manager or any of the other app ones that you see is because anybody can put information on there. So I can go in there and put a pound of ground beef is 250 grams of protein and 0 grams of fat. And you're going to pull that up. And if you are me, you're going to use that because you feel like you're getting away with something. The bottom line, like heavy whipping cream, no matter what company it is, heavy whipping cream has a carb in it or just less than a carb. Yet people go into there and put there's 0 carbs in here, and that's the one we use. So we recommend Chronometer because it's correct.
And you don't need to pay for it. You can just use the free.
Right.
Let's see. Do we have any other ones? So Debbie has got a question here. It said, so if I'm currently fasting now till Easter, I shouldn't start this right now.
No, you can get started. If you start struggling getting your protein in, then maybe at some point you might want to say, maybe fasting isn't what I would need to do and adjust.
Right. So Carol wants to know about the protein calculator again. So the macro calculator is on our website under macro calculator on the very top. And then the thing that Bronson is talking about, I will put a link in it in the description when we are done.
Oh, Lucy's saying another alternative is to blend an egg in your coffee, which we have found that works fantastic at lightening it up, and it tastes very creamy.
Yeah. I was surprised the first time I had the gumption to actually try to drink egg whites out of the carton. Just because I don't know why I just randomly was like, I want to try this. It feels and tastes like you're drinking milk. Like
I don't think I'm going there.
because I had put it in my shakes already, and I was like, okay, it doesn't taste weird in my shakes. I wonder what it tastes like straight out of the carton. I felt like I was drinking vitamin D milk, whole milk.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going there.
But the only thing is that totally makes sense because it's the yolk part that like when you're, when you see Rocky doing it, right? It's when he hits the yellow part that you're like, oh, like
I don't know. For me, the yellow, you put it in a blender, it emulsifies, and it's like milk. Cool. So we've got one here. Rainey wants to know, I know collagen doesn't count, so can we add it to our energy bucket or it just doesn't count at all?
In general, I treat collagen as a supplement. For me personally, I don't count it as a main macro. It's I take it like I count it as if I'm taking, you know, my magnesium pills or zinc pills or multivitamin or something like that. I don't count it at all. That's how I do it. So that should work for everybody, because one, it's not really an energy source, so there's no need to count it in energy. And since our goal is building lean mass, it's not going to help for that. The calories don't really necessarily count, so I wouldn't worry about it.
Mm-hmm. Tanya said she's trying to wean off of dairy. It's not pretty. It is hard. Like, I am a cheese freak, man. I mean, especially like I have to go to Sam's Club and like try to walk right past like the cheese section because I just want to grab all the cheese. And then I have all this cheese, and then like every time I go out to the other refrigerator, I'm grabbing a piece of cheese. Like, and at the end of the day, I don't even know how much I've eaten. So it's like the best thing for me is don't have it, or like have it in a big block, because once if there's like one of those slice things, like I'm a slice here and a slice here, and at the end of the day, I've probably eaten like 15 slices of cheese.
That's your drive-by.
It's like cheese is not good for me. Let's see. Trucker said I can give up the cheese, but she said I will still have some heavy whipping cream in my 2 cups of normal size coffee in the morning, minus stevia.
I think that they're implying that I don't drink a normal size amount of coffee.
Yeah,
which is absolutely true. No one should use a cup that's bigger than your head.
Shauna said, "I'm sorry, but raw egg is nothing like milk."
Hey, it does blend up. Like, it's amazing what it does.
That's the yolk that is doing that, though.
No yolking. The no yolk challenge.
No, yeah, there we go. We should make the O in joke look like an egg yolk.
Oh, I love it.
Okay, so here's something, because this comes up all the time. She said, my A1C was with eating more protein was still in a non-diabetic range. My CGM does run higher, but my labs are great. So try not to worry.
That's encouraging.
Yeah, and the healthier she gets, the better their CGM is going to be.
So a lot of people are concerned about, especially former diabetics, who are people who are off of their diabetes medication. They are concerned about, their glucose going up because of protein. Do you want to talk about that? And while you're doing that, I'm going to grab that other thing to show.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we talked about a little bit about it on the last week, but it's not something that you guys really need to worry about. Any rise in glucose from protein is a response, not the protein turning into sugar. So it's actually coming from your body. It's not the protein that's turning into it. So it's not that your numbers are going up because you're adding sugar to your system. It's your system responding by raising its level. 2 very different things than if you're eating carbohydrates and the carbohydrates are turning into it. You're actually adding sugar to the pot there, and that's not what we want to do. So don't worry about it. Any rise that you get from protein that's going to stimulate or require insulin is going to be pushing in BCAAs, not sugar, not fat. So you don't have to worry about it.
So we understand that, people are, nervous about it. So we thought we want to do our best to try to show what's going on in our body too. So
we have partnered with a company called NutriSense.
We're going to do CGM.
So NutriSense, I'm going to put a link down below, or we'll talk about it more in tomorrow's live stream. But what this is a company that offers CGMs to anybody. You do not need to go to your doctor to get it. So they basically are like a teledoc. So you can call them up and you can say hey, I'd like to get a CGM, or you go to their website. We actually will have a coupon code to get you some money off of it. And then they ask you some medical questions, and then they will ship you CGM. So if you're interested in having a CGM to monitor yourself, I will say that if you are a diabetic needing insulin, they will not provide you with one, because this is for testing purposes, for experimentation, but because they are using it basically as a teledoc as opposed to your actual medical doctor. But we will have a discount for them, but we're going to put this on tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so for the next 2 weeks, we will monitor our glucose, and you'll see my glucose is normally high. But you have to look at a lot of different numbers. It's people talk about, cholesterol. The question I get emailed all the time is like, what's your cholesterol? I'm like, don't know, don't care. What I care about is my triglycerides are really low, and my LDL, HDL from the total cholesterol, the remnant cholesterol, that is very low. I don't care if my cholesterol is 350, which Dr. Berry talks about. He'll have cholesterol 350, 400. He's a medical doctor. He doesn't care. What he cares about is the unused cholesterol, the remnant cholesterol.
I have never worn a CGM before, so this is a first for me, but I'm excited to see what it tells. And I think that like, hopefully we can help everybody have kind of like a 3D look at what's going on in our body. And maybe if you're like, I'm not ready to do this, maybe after you see what happens inside of us, then maybe you'll be more likely to try in the future.
One of the things that I find interesting in wearing a CGM is my glucose will go up 30 or 40 points fasted after exercise. So I didn't eat anything. So how did my glucose go up? So it's something that if you're not eating the carbs and the sugar, don't worry about it as much. Do you have anything about that, Bronson?
Yeah. So I was just going to say, that's a good point you bring up, because guys, your glucose rising is not always a bad thing. Your body needs glucose for fuel. Okay. Maybe this is another talk we can talk about when we talk about why exercise and how your body uses fuel for exercise. Maybe that can be one of our discussions, but there's a whole pathway that's designed, that our body is designed to use, just to use sugar as fuel. Okay. Now, here's the thing. That sugar doesn't need to come from carbs. Your body can turn fat into sugar. So there's multiple pathways, and there's multiple things that your body can do to create the glucose that it can burn for fuel, the glycogen that it burns for fuel. So when that goes up, it's not a bad thing. It's your body doing what it's intended to do. It's just doing it from the resources it has available, not from the crap that you're shoving in your face. That's where we have a problem, is when we're artificially adding to that pool of energy. That's where the problem is. If it's pulling from the resources you have available, then you're fine. That you want your glucose to go up when you exercise, because that's your body generating energy to do the exercise. So that's perfectly fine. The same with the dawn effect. The same with the dawn effect, right? You get up in the morning, your body's getting ready to go. I got to energize myself. So your glucose goes up a little bit.
Yeah, so it's the same thing. If I have a night of like, I don't sleep a lot, like my glucose will normally go up. If I'm very stressed, my glucose. Miriam did a thing once when last time she wore a CGM, she noticed that every time she was going to talk to Rachel on the phone, her glucose would go up because she was excited to be able to talk to her friend.
So there's something good. So it's not always like, but we've said that before, like there's stress, like it's a good stress. Like you are getting a new house, or you're getting married, or your child is having a child. But it's still stress.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just saw one. Shell said, Bronson, what are your thoughts on Lupin Beans? I use ground ones as breakfast grits.
I honestly have never heard of Lupin Beans.
Okay, yeah, they make a flour with it. It's a legume. Some people are using it with flour, and again, it is very low carb, but just remember it's a legume. So
right, it's a legume. If it's low carb, if it's low carb, that means it's high fiber, and there's issues with that as well. Because remember, guys, carbs are either fiber or they're carbs. So if it's low in carb content as a quantity, then that means it's got to have a bunch of fiber, and you don't necessarily need that either. So I mean, if it's working for you, if you don't have any negative side effects and you don't feel like it's a problem, then have a blast. Because again, there's no rules.
Right.
Everything's available. What's working and what's not. That's what you got to worry about.
So Lisa wants to know, if pork rinds is not a complete protein, how much protein should we count with it?
You might count it. If you don't.
It's extra. Don't worry about it, guys, because again, like you said, there's no rules. You can go over your protein. But just remember, when you eat pork rinds, you're eating fat too. So you're going to have to portion a little bit there because you're eating fat with pork rinds.
But
right. That's what I was going to say. For me, I've always counted them, not because necessarily of the protein, but because there's fat as well. So yes, you want to get really specific and not count the collagen, not count the protein portion, but then count the fat. Count them or don't. I think as long as you're not eating 4 bags a day, You're probably fine.
Do that.
I could totally eat 4 bags a day though.
So Joy said, yeah, so higher glucose from higher blood sugar from protein won't necessarily raise my A1C.
I can't say yes or no to that. I think that's an individual thing. I don't know what your A1C is, what your triggers are, or any of that other kind of stuff. So I would say that it's not a problem, and long term, you shouldn't have any issues. I'll put it that way.
Okay, so
is this the portion of our show where we say that we are not medical experts?
Yes, I was just going to say that. This is that portion.
This is our this is our, what we've done for ourselves and our experience.
Yeah, right. So Carol wants to know, what is a CGM? So a CGM is a continuous glucose monitor. It is not measuring your blood sugar. It's measuring the fluid. What is it? What is the name of that? I never can pronounce it right.
I just had it on the tip of my tongue too, and it just left.
Starts with an I. I can tell you that.
Yeah, it's the intravenous. It's the intercellular, the stuff under the skin.
Yeah, so it's measuring that fluid. So it is slightly different from your glucose, from your blood glucose. It rises a little bit slower and can go down a little bit slower. But it's basically the same thing. And diabetics use it. They can actually hook it up to insulin pumps, and where it will automatically give you like your insulin if you're in that situation. What we're using it for is to it's continually monitoring your glucose, so you don't have to prick your finger a million times a day. This one is based on the Freestyle. It is a Freestyle Libre, basically. Right. And so what happens is you've got this thing on your arm, and you're going to wear it. And again, we're going to vlog it tomorrow, putting it on. I get to stick it on Rachel. Ooh. And it's a little disc that's wear on your arm, and then you put your phone up there, and then your phone will read it, and it's going to tell you exactly where your glucose is, and it keeps it stored. So now when you pick up your phone, you can see trends. So you're looking at these trends of where is my glucose? You can see what's spiking. Like Kim Howerton has been doing a thing right now because she's got one on right now, and she's been testing like keto breads and stuff. Yeah. And surprisingly, or not surprising to me, but surprising to a lot of people, a lot of the keto breads are like making her glucose go up 40, 50 points, and she's getting like inflammation and bloatiness. And these are from 0 net carb breads. And her whole thing was to kind of show that net carbs is garbage. But
it's good to see what is your personal sensitivity. Because I can tell you right now, before we even put it on, Joe and I will have different reactions to things. Yep. I know that for a fact, because it's what is your individual body doing.
I mean, the bottom line is like, I haven't had sugar in 3 years. So how can I ever have a glucose up at 120, 130, 150? If I'm not eating sugar, then it's got to be my body doing it. And I want to see like what is causing that. I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's whether stress or exercise or, it's a flight thing for your body. Your body will create glucose. If you're got to run away from a lion that's chasing you, it's going to give you glucose one way or another. So you have the energy to go. Peggy wants to know, how much exercise are you guys doing and how many days a week?
Well, it's designed to be
right now, what are you doing?
Oh, right now? Mm-hmm. Well, I at least walk 5 miles a day, and at least twice a week I have a 20-mile bike ride right now. So I'm going to try to I'm going to do 3 days a week this challenge during April, right? Because I don't do a lot of strength training in my arms. I've kind of said, I don't have any upper body weight, upper body strength.
Right.
But I don't want to be like that forever. I'm ready for some upper body strength. So maybe we can improve it. So I'm ready to improve now.
So, and for me, I'm doing I bike ride or I'll walk. Plus I've got my lacrosse games, and then I'm doing Bronson's Apex training program 3 to 5 days a week. And now I'm just going to do this in addition. And so we went and we have very little stuff. Neither one of us are going to the gym. I'm not willing to spend the money on going to a gym. So we've got a slam ball in the garage. I just bought Rachel one of those little sit-up lumbar support things so when you don't you protect your tailbone back there. They're $12 on Amazon. And then we have a couple of
it's called an ab mat.
an ab mat.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I do have. It's also
we have the bands.
It's a very important piece of fitness equipment for me, and that is the memory foam neck pillow that I'm using on top of my bike seat.
That's because we have to get your bike seat
because
adjusted.
No bike seat can handle what's going on in my trunk. Like it's just it can't. So it's like it's either like walk sideways for the 2 days following the bike ride, or sit on a neck pillow.
We have to get adjusted. So Bronson, we sold our regular bicycles because we did the RVing and we wanted something that's a little bit more portable. We bought folding electric bicycles. Mine actually, I'm waiting for a new battery to come because it came with a bad battery. But you'd think that electric bicycle, not a workout. That thing is a workout because you're still pedaling, but it just keeps you at a steady pace, and depending on how much you allow the battery to help you. But I did 15 miles to Whole Foods the other day. You know,
wow,
it's like it's nice because where you're normally like after 3 miles, you're like, I'm done. You just, because it keeps you at a state. I kind of equate it to like being on a treadmill. When you go on a treadmill, the treadmill is moving. It keeps you at that pace. That's what the electric bicycle is. But Rachel did 20 miles to church today.
Well, and what's nice, and I'm hoping that everybody has this kind of experience during, this month and this challenge, is I am the oldest person in my workplace. It's me. I'm the oldest one. So when I exercised and rode my bike to work today, all of the 20 somethings that I work with are like, are you kidding me? Did you actually like exercise more than we did today? Like you did stuff? And I was like, yes, I can do stuff. So, maybe your family or your friends or your coworkers have you in that little box that says like, you can't do any fitness. Like maybe some of my coworkers thought like Miss Rachel is old and can't do, push herself. We're going to surprise them, right? We're going to do more.
So I just saw one. Andrew wants to know, Bronson, how often do you suggest doing the workouts?
It's set up for 3 days a week. So I think for most people that are just getting started, if you already have a routine and you're already doing something with resistance training, high intensity interval training, some kind of variation of what you're doing, then you may not need to do this. You just keep doing what you're doing. If you are not doing anything, which I think a lot of people are at the point where they've been focusing so much on their nutrition, lifestyle, and habits that now it's time to move into the fitness piece, then I recommend 3 days a week.
That's awesome. Because then you feel rewarded, right? It's like 1 day on, 1 day off.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Just lots of things on the glucose. I think that is about it.
Let's see.
Hope we answered everybody's questions tonight.
Yeah. So I'm just scrolling down to the bottom. I don't see anything new. Peggy said, I work at a gym and I get a free membership, and those weight machines intimidate me. I don't even know where to begin with them.
You should be able to do the workouts that the PDF that we've got for the No Joke Challenge, because they're body weight. You don't even need the machines. Right. Okay. And then if you decide that you want to do something, we'll talk about this towards the end of the month. But if anybody wants to continue doing fitness later on after this month's challenge up, I have a program that we can talk about getting people into, where Joe's doing it. He can kind of talk about how that works, and but that's 4 weeks away. We can talk about that later.
That is awesome.
Okay. So I think that we can stop it there. And then it's been about an hour. Bronson, we really appreciate this. I'm excited about this. It's definitely going to be good. And now tomorrow, for those of you who do want to participate in the Chop Challenge, tomorrow is chuck eye steak.
Yes.
So I picked one up at Walmart.
Did you have
$4?
$4
for 2 pounds.
Wow.
That's pretty cheap.
Wow.
So
was bacon on there? We have a bacon day.
There was bacon on there. And again, this is what you can eat for the day. This is, if you've ever seen Chopped on the Food Network or whatever network it was on, here's an ingredient. What can you do with it today?
Do with it?
It doesn't have to be your only meal of the day. It's not you're only eating chuck eye steak for the day. Here's bacon. Have some bacon today. You can have bacon. on top of like, you know, shrimp, or, you know, mix it up with some Brussels sprouts, whatever you want. So this is just like a fun thing of like, hey, try some new foods. Like I think one of the days is beef ribs. We don't make beef ribs that often.
Yeah, we
because
usually do pork.
I don't like seeing a big rib like that shrink down to like this. And I'm like, wow, I spent a lot of money on those things.
Yeah.
Somebody just asked how they report their participation. You see that one?
I'm looking forward to this.
Oh, there you go. Blue Dove.
How do we
Yeah.
go? Okay.
I'm going to say a couple recommendations for how to report your participation. Post pictures of your food in the family group. Post videos of your workouts. Tell us how you're doing every once in a while.
That's good.
That's how you report it.
Now we do have at the end of the month, we're going to have some giveaways from some different companies. I actually talked to Julie over at Redmond, and we're going to be doing some electrolytes. We're going to be doing some salts and stuff like that. We're going to have some stuff from Keto Chow. We're going to have some stuff from Equip Protein and probably from Perfect Keto. So at the end of the month, we'll have some giveaways from some of the different companies that like we like to use like on a regular basis.
So if you're on the fence about participating, that will be the incentive.
Yeah.
We'll do whatever it takes to get everybody moving.
Well, thanks a lot for joining us tonight, Bronson. Again, guys,
see you guys next week.
Come back next week. He'll be on next week. If any of your questions, if you have concerns, if you're struggling with your workouts, Bronson's pretty active in our Facebook group. If you don't have Facebook, you can always email Bronson, or you can email us or come back next week and ask your questions live. Do you have any closing thoughts there, Bronson?
No, I'm just super excited to see how everybody does. It's already cool to see what people have started doing just the last few weeks. I can't wait till they actually get some focus and start driving it hard.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, guys, we will check in with everybody tomorrow for our regular 8:30 p.m. live stream where we just have a lot of fun. Do we have a theme for tomorrow? No?
Nope.
Nope. So join us tomorrow, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.